Okay, so today I'm going to talk about something I wanted to talk about for a while, and I just did not get to it as soon as I wanted to, but I'm doing it now, so here goes. Alright? So if you can tell from the name of the video, this is basically what it's going to be. It's going to be about Jeffrey Epstein and who I believe is responsible for this man either being killed or committing suicide, right? Because there's theories out there that he might have been taken out. I can't say for sure. I wasn't there. I don't know. What I will tell you is that right after he was arrested, I had a conversation with my mother, and I told her that he was going to be killed in prison and he would not make it to testify. Why? Because obviously this man is servicing people that even though he is wealthy and a man of means, the people that they're talking about that are within that circle are people that have even more means and more wealth than him. And these people will not allow him to put their dirty deeds to light. Now anybody that knows me well enough knows my mother, and you're, you know, welcome to confirm it with her. But this is a conversation that I had with her, and she was like, what? Seriously? But anybody that has my mentality and my line of thinking knows that this guy got a deal before, most likely for that very same reason, so that other things about other people don't come to light. Okay? But I placed the blame squarely on the shoulders of the D.O.J. Why? Because when you have a guy in custody who is at that time most likely the most reviled person in custody in, the eyes of Americans, it is your job to make sure that this guy actually makes it to the witness stand, so that you could gather up the rest of the ring. It's similar to having any witness of this magnitude in custody. Whether it be an El Chapo or Timothy McVeigh or Jeffrey Dahmer or whoever that person is that everybody in the country at that time knows, listen, this is the guy, right? And this is what's happening. At that time, everybody knows, okay, this is the guy. We want to know what's going on with that guy. Like, you're not, at that point, you're not really concerned with, there's other things going on, of course, but at that time, you're not really concerned about, Pookie and Ray Ray that shot up the park last week. In your mind, these things are taking a back burner because this guy's all over the news. He was already in the news. They publicized his arrest coming back into the country. So you're hearing about all these egregious things he did. And you understand the level of what he did and all the people that he affected. So you're like, all right, this is the guy. We want to know what's going on with that guy. You know what I mean? So it's their responsibility to keep that prominent person at that time safe for him to go make his testimony or give, information on other people within that circle. You know what I'm saying? Because at that moment, it's like, he is the highest level criminal. Well, I don't know that he was a murderer. Okay? And, of course, I would classify someone who kills people above him in terms of the egregious nature of the crime. But what he did was, it's up there. And we're not talking about just one case. We're talking about a ring, I don't know how many young ladies or, young girls involved. So, obvious, this is something that you do to not just garner wealth. Maybe he did blackmail some people, I don't know. Maybe he didn't. But when you have dirt like that on people of influence, you're talking about, I mean, look at his circle. You're talking about politicians, royalty, um, attorneys, talking about the high echelon. This guy was part of the 1%, so obviously these are his clients. So we're talking about people that have even more wealth and even more influence than Epstein himself. Okay, so do you really think that these people would want their dirty deeds to come to light? I don't think so. But that's just me. But I'm saying, unless he was actually taken into WITSEC for his protection, which I do not think happened, because then why the whole charade of him killing himself when he still has to come out and testify? If this man was taken out or allowed to commit suicide, then it's squarely on the D.O.J. Squarely on them. Because they failed to do their job. And one thing I despise is incompetence. I mean, I loathe incompetence, stupidity, ignorance, but, the ignorance and the stupidity first, there's a way around it, People are dull-minded sometimes because, they're not the sharpest tack in the drawer. Everybody's not going to have a high level of intellect. We get that, we understand that. But the incompetence, okay, you're in a position to do something, you're supposed to be qualified and have the ability and the means to do it. But you fail miserably at doing it. I don't like that. Now you say, how would you know that they're the ones to take the burden of responsibility? Well, who else is supposed to take it? You mean the guards that weren't checking on him, and the facility that was understaffed, and blah 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 blah. Whatever. Doesn't matter. This is a document from the D.O.J. I don't know if y'all can see that. I just blocked out what was personal to me. So I have had dealings with them. And I know personally about their level of incompetence. If I come to an entity as big as and as powerful as the D.O.J. has as much reach, and you say you're going to take up an investigation on my behalf, it's going to take this amount of time, we'll have an answer for you by the end of that time, and then that time passes, and you still have more time than what was allotted, and then at the end you tell me, champ, we're not done. We can't figure it out. If you want to file an appeal or move forward with an attorney at your own personal cost, then that's up to you. But we can do our job. Then you're incompetent. That's what it comes down to. You are incompetent. And that's in any job. You might as well just be cleaning up public parks and, picking up garbage in the early morning if you can't do what you're supposed to be qualified and able to do. And no disrespect to the garbage men. None meant, of course, because if it wasn't for them, our cities and towns would literally be in a stink. Literally. So, but it's just to the point. Like, these guys go out and pick up trash on certain street routes. Everybody has their route, and they know where to put rotting food, separates from the recyclables, and that sort of stuff. And they do a good job. But then you have people who are qualified to investigate criminal and legal matters and keep their witnesses, especially high-profile witnesses, safe until that time when they have to produce testimony, etc., etc. And you're not able to do it, then what are you doing? Why are you there? What purpose do you serve? And that's why I would place the blame squarely on them. Even when the president came in, he was talking about how ripe the D.O.J is with incompetence. And he got a lot of flack for it, especially in the media, and people from the D.O.J saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I've seen it. He knows what he's talking about. It's apparent. Okay? People will have you blame the place where he was staying, but if that's where y'all chose he should stay, then you should make sure that that place has beefed up security, has all the attention it needs, so that that main person, because let's not forget, that's the guy. Okay, he's the guy right now. And this is the guy that you need to bring down all these other people, unless you don't want to bring him down. Unless that influence and power is so wide-reaching that you would rather let him kill himself or let him be taken out so that he doesn't speak. Then, okay, that's motive. But if your actual intent was to have this guy be used to pull a dragnet, so to speak, and scoop up all these other degenerates, because let's face it, the guy was a degenerate, for what he was doing. I mean, he's just one of so many, let's be honest. He's a high-level one, but, there's so many, there's too many to count. There's degenerates all over this place. I mean, there's people killing people, there's mothers killing children, there's children killing parents, children killing grandparents, kids killing kids. Come on. He's one of many, but he was that high-profile guy at the time. So obviously all eyes were on him. Okay? And they dropped the ball. Plain and simple. They shouldn't have dropped the ball, and they did. And that, to me, is just telling of how, you put your faith in these entities. They scare the crap out of the small people, the people that don't have the 500 and something million in the bank. All right, they drag them in, make them pay fines, do this, do that, do time. But then when you have an opportunity to take down a quote-unquote pedophile ring, right? Something that you would expect that the D.O.J would want to do, you drop the ball. It's like, oops, my bad. Like, come on, seriously? How are we supposed to take you seriously if all you're able to do is, you going to, like, have cops on the street shooting people, killing people. Every time you say you're going to investigate something, you don't do your job. Then you have this high-profile case right in front of you, a chance to do some good, have all the young girls that were affected to have some kind of recourse, to get some kind of reprieve. And it's not just Epstein, let's not forget. He was just the face in front of it all because they were using his airline, his island, etc. But you know, there's so many people involved. I mean, this is an ongoing thing for years. So you can just imagine the number of people that were embroiled in this thing. You know, and now it's like, okay, so what's gonna happen? I guess time will tell. That's all for now, folks.